Hi, I'm Wayne Tuttle, and this is Chasing Legends. Welcome back to Chasing Legends. I'm Wayne Tuttle, your host once again. Please hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a comment if you want to leave a comment, and visit our website at www.legendssuperstitionmountains.com. Lots of cool stuff there. Let's get to this. So this week I had several ideas, and I know we've kind of jumped around a bit, did some treasure stories. We did the Treasure Hunt of the Year Award, and I had a couple that will be coming up that I thought were cool stories, a bit stretched out. But this would be, I sit and think about stories and what I want to do this week. And as they trickle through, there's like usually something, maybe a story of my own. There's a couple treasure stories, and then there might be something someone was talking to me about. And this one story kept sticking, and it kept coming to the surface, and I kept thinking, I don't know, but then it's the one I keep thinking about. So that's the one I will do because for some reason it's prominently coming forward in my mind. So this one took place this last fall through December, and a gentleman named Gary. And I kind of went back and forth with Gary through some texts and messages. And it was more, the relationship there was someone that I never actually met, but it was someone that was kind of getting interested in the mountains. It was kind of the introductory into treasure hunting thing, places to go. And he was very interested in the Tortilla Ranch area and site. I never was able to make it out. There was a couple times he was letting me know when he was going out, said it'd be really cool to meet me and stuff, and I just couldn't get back there and have the time off to do it or the work things out. I was trying to get Frank to go a couple times and see if we could get out there and meet him. I wanted to film out there some stuff, but I let him know about the Miller Mines and Lost Dutchman Canyon and connecting into Fish Creek and the going Tortilla or the Peters Mesa side and Peters Canyon. And I thought there's a lot of great little different avenues to become more familiar with the mountains. He was interested because there's not a lot of people utilize that area as much. Now, I told him how rough the road was going in. He had a Jeep. I told him you might want to make a couple attempts, have someone with you to help guide you and, up over and to get into the road off at the trailhead entrance. And we talked about it. He made a couple trips. He was interested in filming. He was kind of, and it was odd for me, but he wasn't one of someone that kind of pushed back on it. But he was interested in a lot of the stories about odd stuff. He loved the stuff we did in Octobers about reptile people and UFOs and ghosts and stuff. And he kind of had a lean for that. And he wanted to go out and film and kind of spend time out there, get to know the area. And he was going to take a lot of pictures and stuff, but he wanted to see what he could kind of get. And he thought the Tortilla Ranch, Miller Mine, and I gave him GPS coordinates to different sites. There was a couple ruins. So he could go out and sit in those areas and do stuff. He talked the first couple of times. He came back and he said, yeah, there was nothing. And I know this trip he made that we're going to talk about, he quit doing all the EVP stuff. He quit doing everything. He was just taking the camera. He had one of those little backpack chairs, kind of like a backpack, but it's a chair. He could take out, he could park, he could go out somewhere, and then he would just set up and sit there with the camera and watch the skies and stuff and see what would happen around him. He'd went in this particular time. He said he drove in. He didn't go all the way to the ranch site. Somewhere along the way, he found a place to pull off. And then he'd just go bushwhack it out for a while, about a quarter mile, find a spot to sit, and then it would be the area he would kind of wander in a little and kind of take pictures and stuff and kind of see what he could pick up. So he's kind of your paranormal investigator, but just kind of like, I wanted to learn about the superstitions. I think it was more he wanted just to get out and about. So he made this trip. He'd always let me know, I'm going to make the trip. If you can make it out, I'll probably be about here. And okay. So he made the trip, parked, went out, set up. Said nothing's happening as usual. But he said he oddly started enjoying just going out in the mountains, parking, and spending time out. And he'd gotten over the whole kind of feeling weird about it. Because when you first go out someplace like, if there's no one around, you don't see a soul all day, it can get a little odd as you're kind of, anything you hear, anything going on, you're just anticipating. And everything was going well. He said he was sitting there and he was looking out and he saw something out in the sky. And he said he started watching it and it didn't seem to be moving, and he's watching it and he's kind of like, huh. And he's looking to the east. He'd kind of said he went west and he was kind of taking pictures, and he would turn the chair and look different places, and he realized the skyline he was looking at, looking east from where he was a much better skyline. But he noticed this thing, and he said he kept his eyes focused on it a while. It didn't seem to be moving that he could tell, but he said it kind of had a glow or something, and he wondered if it was a star. It's daylight, and he's wondering if it's one of those, planets or stars that you can see during the daytime. And he was trying to kind of stay focused on it. He said he couldn't get a good picture of it because it seemed too far away. So he's sitting there trying to get a decent picture of it, and nothing's coming out really good. So he's just kind of watching it, and then he just kind of blew it off after a while. He said he moved his chair, kind of went further back, found another spot that was a little higher elevated. He looked up, looked around for it, couldn't find it. Then he said he spotted it again. It was at a different spot. And then he was trying to figure out, was he looking at it at a different spot, or because he moved, did it make him feel like it was in a different spot? He said then suddenly it started to move, and then he watched it, and he said it just moved horizontally back to over where it'd been, where he'd thought it'd been, and then it kind of settled. And he said it seemed to have movement, like it would stop, settle, like it was moving around, and then it would settle. And he said he kind of started thinking, odd, like this seems intelligent, like it did move. It's not a plane. Is it a helicopter? No, it's not a helicopter. And he said he kept trying to check down what it was. Well, he said that at one point he realized it had gotten somewhat closer. He said it had a yellowish, goldish kind of reflection to it. He couldn't tell if it was light or what was going on. And he watched it and he realized it had to be near the area of the Jeep. Now, he said he couldn't hear anything. So then he's trying to figure out, is it looking and watching, sees where his Jeep is, because that seemed to be where it stopped, and then it moved away from there, back going east. So then it bothered him because it's intelligent. Okay, it recognized there's a Jeep or someone in the area, and now it's moving out of the area. And he said it got out further, and then it just abruptly started moving to the right, going south. And as he watched it go south, he just kept watching it, and then it stopped. And he could tell it kind of made some motions and movement. And then he said, very oddly, it started like, I thought it was coming closer, but then it just started going vertical. And he said it just kept rising and rising and rising till he couldn't see it. And he said it was kind of rapid, and he was watching it. He was going, I don't even know what the hell was that? He said now he's feeling kind of weird, because was it intelligent? Did whatever this was, did it go over and check out his Jeep? What could it be? Because it went vertical, and he says it went out to the point he couldn't see it anymore. He watched for a while. Then he realized it's getting later. He needs to get out before the sun goes down so he can see his way out at the trailhead entrance. So he gets back to the Jeep, and the Jeep won't start. So now he said his brain was thinking whatever this was hovered over. Now his Jeep's dead. And now he said, I really seriously thought, well, there's some sort of intelligent form of whatever this light was. It was over my freaking Jeep. And I never heard a thing, and now whatever this thing was, it's gone, and my Jeep won't start. There's no one else out here. I haven't seen anyone all day. He worked out how long it would take him to get to the trail, or the trailhead, but at Apache Trail, because Fish Creek Hills closed, he realized there wasn't going to probably be anyone there, so he'd have to go all the way back down to Tortilla Flat. And he realized it was cool out and all this, so he started thinking, what's better? Well, his wife knew where he was. I knew where he was, but I wouldn't have known to contact, because I'd usually hear from him a day or two later. So his whole thought process is, well, I'd be better off staying here, because if I'm not home tonight, my wife would contact the sheriff's department. They'll send a deputy sheriff down here, and they'll find me. And that'll be it. So he did say he tried to push the Jeep a couple times to see, but it was too flat and the road was too uneven that he couldn't get any momentum to get to pop the clutch to see if he could get it started that way. So he just decided just to sit and wait. He said it was getting a little later, and then he heard an engine, and he thought, oh my God, there's someone else out here. He heard it approaching finally, and out of nowhere another Jeep shows up. Guy pulls over. Hey, what's up? You need any help? Well, yeah, I do. So the guy talked to him. They got his Jeep turned around, and using the other Jeep to push it, they got it going. He was able to pop the clutch, get his Jeep started. So the guy said, hey, I'll tell you what, it could be a dead battery. I'll just follow you, and we'll make sure we get you out to the main road, and I'll follow you all the way into town to make sure you get at least back in town someplace where you can get a battery or something. He's totally appreciative of this guy, so they work their way out. He said it worked out so good because it was dark leaving, so they were able to, one of them, guide the other one over that area. If you know the spot I'm talking about, you know why. And they both got both Jeeps out. They get on Apache Trail. The guy followed them all the way to AutoZone Checker or someplace, and they went to get the battery. So they're getting the battery because that's what it turned out to be, a dead battery. So he's replacing the battery. I offered the guy like $20. Hey, thank you so much, because I would have been out there all night probably. It was very cool of you. Thankfully you were out there. And the guy said, well, well, I knew someone was up the road, and he was like kind of weird, like he didn't think he'd made any noise. Well, it turns out the guy had been flying a drone. And he said, yeah, I went over. When I went back up over to the road, I saw your Jeep, and I kind of realized, oh, someone else is out here. I didn't see anyone else around. I didn't want to bug you. So I took this drone and I went back to where I was searching. So he said he took the drone over and kind of like was checking the area, and he saw the Jeep. And he said, well, you know what? I don't want to bug whoever it is. I don't see them around. I don't want them to think I'm spying on them or anything, so I'll just head back over here. And he was like, well, that's what I thought. But he said it was really odd because he's realizing now what he saw was this guy's drone. But he said it was like glowing or whatever. And the guy said, well, this is what's happened. I've come out and done this out here a few times, and I've lost a couple drones. And sometimes the battery will lose, and I'll lose the drone will drop. Or it won't come back to the home base out here. For some reason, sometimes it gets scrambled. So he said, what I do is I go to one of these party stores, and I get one of those balloons, those metallic balloons. And he says, I tie about 20 feet of string on it, and I fly my drone. And then if my drone goes down, I got this 10, 15, 20 foot of line, and the balloon's there. And when I'm in the area, I can see the balloon. I'll be able to see where the drone went down, and I can actually go over and catch. Plus, it allows me, when it's in the air, I can see where the drone is when I'm flying it around filming. And so he said he completely felt everything got out. Gary informed me after this he was going to continue to go in the mountains. He's going to continue to enjoy the mountains and take pictures and enjoy this stuff. He was more interested in the history now, and he was not thinking of finding, because he said, I was so convinced that it was extraterrestrial intelligent life that was checked on my Jeep, and I was somehow that night going to be abducted. And he said, you don't realize how nervous I was about thinking that was such a real possibility, and just to find out it was a party balloon and a drone. And he said that never entered my mind the whole time. And he said, if I would have thought that, I might have realized it. But he said, your mind's funny. Once you've got yourself centered on something, there it is. I thought it was a cool story. It doesn't poo-poo all the stuff. We talked about a few books and stuff early on, I remember, with him about that kind of stuff, which I told him are just absolutely worthless, written for 10 to 12-year-olds, and have no geographical placement or anything serious to add to anything in the mountains. But, people like to go their own way till they find, oh, that isn't very real, and Gary did. And I haven't heard from him for a little while, but he did make other trips and would send me sometimes a picture of the area he was in and ask me, did I recognize this, or had I ever seen that? And sometimes it's something new, sometimes it's stuff I was aware of, and then I would tell him, here, you can check here for the reference, or I'd send him a little of the history on it so he could look into it. So very cool. But I always thought it was a good story. Very good story. Can't imagine being him, thinking you're stuck there in the middle of the night and the ETs are coming back for you. That would be a bit unnerving, but he learned, and he continues, hopefully, to enjoy the Superstition Mountains. So I hope you enjoyed that story. I hope for you, those that were hoping that Gary would be abducted by the lizard people and they would somehow rape him or something. I'm sorry to disappoint you. Gary's just fine and just enjoying the mountains. Maybe the guy in the Jeep was really an extraterrestrial, and he brainwashed him, had him one of those Men in Black things, went psh, and that was it. And Gary just remembers getting a battery. Who knows? But whatever it is, I'll take Gary's side of believe he had a dead battery, and that's exactly what happened. So thank you for joining us. I hope everybody has a wonderful week. I hope you enjoyed the video and continue to watch our videos and support us. But until the next time, always remember the most important thing, and you know it. You're probably going to say it with me. I'm Wayne Tuttle. You're not. And this was Chasing Legends.